you look, and instead here's the joyful face you've been wanting to see.
Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with Toronto-based jazz pianist, composer, and educator Amanda Tosoff. We talked to her in mid-January 2021 about her upcoming CD, Earth Voices, featuring 17 guests on the recording. To date, she has 6 albums to her credit and has performed with quite a few seasoned musicians over time. We also talked about COVID, her career, and so much more. Enjoy.
Again, thank you for taking a minute out. I appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. Thank you for doing this.
Absolutely. So let's start off with Earth Voices. It's coming out on the 29th of January. Talk to me a little bit about a release during, what's going on the planet right now with the pandemic and everything that's happening.
Yeah, so it's definitely a bummer. I would have loved to have booked a tour and do that usual thing that we do with releasing a record. So that's of course not happening right now. Of course, I've got some things that I'm hoping to do later in the year, but that's just on hold. On the plus side, it's been fun to sort of investigate other ways to make use of the internet and social media and sort of up that game. So I'm trying to make the most of it online. So it's definitely luckily the album was recorded before COVID, but we just couldn't wait any longer to release it. So yeah, it's a bummer, but it's you gotta go with the flow.
And you got a lot of very special guests. It's a power lineup. It has to be pretty exciting to put this album out.
I'm really, really excited. I've never been so proud of a record and so excited and just so amazed at like you said, the amazing special guests that just I imagined would be perfect fit for the songs, and they just surpassed my imagination. Really, their performances are amazing. Let's
go back to the beginning. Talk to me a little bit about how music and jazz became a part of your life, kind of your childhood and upbringing.
Well, when I was a kid, my mom played a lot of piano, classical piano. So that was sort of my earliest introduction to the piano, wanting to follow in her footsteps. And my family's really musical. My grandpa played boogie-woogie piano. My dad's a wonderful singer-songwriter, country songwriter. My uncles are musicians, so it was just in my family. My introduction to jazz was really through my grandma, who bought me an Oscar Peterson CD, and I just immediately hooked. And of course, I went to a great high school music program, which was my introduction to really playing the music, and I just fell in love with it. And there's nothing else I could imagine myself doing.
So what was your first live jazz show you saw that really made you think, man, this is wonderful, I'd love to do this?
Well, I mentioned that I went to a high school that had a great music program, so we had an opportunity to do a lot of performances, festivals, like the Lionel Hampton Jazz Festival down in Idaho. And yeah, I remember specifically a concert there of the faculty, and many of the names I actually didn't know, but I did know Ingrid Jensen, who's a fellow Canadian. And I just remember being just loving her playing and just loving the energy and the seeing them all up on the big stage. That was my sort of first my introduction to seeing live jazz, and I was hooked. What about mentors? Who've been big influences on you and your style and where you're at right now? Well, definitely some of my early teachers. Dave Prosnick, who's my band teacher, I keep mentioning my high school experience, which is a long time ago, but was quite formative. And my piano teachers, wonderful musician in Vancouver, BC, named Ross Taggart, who's passed away now, but he was probably my biggest influence. That really inspired me and my style. And then of course, the usual suspects like Bill Evans and Renee Rosnes, another BCer, Canadian, who is a huge influence on me, and so many for sure, but definitely Bill Evans, Renee Rosnes, Oscar Peterson for sure, and just the community in Vancouver where I grew up. What do you like the best about being a musician? Well, I think that being able to connect with other musicians on the stage and listeners at concerts, that is a magical experience. It's that flow experience that you're always sort of aiming to get when you're immersed in something, and it's almost like you're transported into another world, and you just get to connect with people on a deeper level than just having a conversation in a lot of ways. So I think that to me is the really special thing about being a musician. But I also just love the varied things that I get to do and creative projects and collaborations. I think that's really exciting to be changing it up, even during COVID, finding ways to adapt and do new things and new collaborations. So many things I love about it.
So when we do return, both the audience and the musicians to the stage, what do you hope we realize about this absence of live music in the world?
Well, I hope that people don't take it for granted. I think that, myself included, sometimes you're like, I don't feel like going out tonight. I'm just going to watch a movie. And, I think that now, being able to go and see live music whenever you want, I think it's going to be a really special thing. And I think we'll really appreciate it. And, I always appreciate myself, but I think that listeners are, they missed that, and they maybe didn't even realize how much they missed seeing live music now that it's not here. So hopefully there'll just be, many people checking out lots of shows and supporting the clubs and supporting the artists and, being part of the community.
Everyone has a perception of you, your family, your friends, your fans, but you're living your life. Who do you think you are?
Who do I think I am? I don't know. I think that a lot of my life I've identified as the jazz pianist. Like, that's me. And I think, in more recent years I've realized, I am more than just that. And other things that, maybe I didn't, I guess that I took for granted, or I just didn't, music was always at the forefront of everything, and things like family and health and these other things are way more important to me. So I feel like I'm still figuring out who I am. Like, I think it's a lifelong pursuit, but I think that, I'm realizing that, it's just an artistic being and just wanting to connect with people and spread the love. That's
a great answer, Amanda. Thank you for taking a minute out for Neon Jazz. Good luck with the album and the return to the live stage.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview. We'll give you a bit of insight into the finest players in Toronto, Kansas City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. And thanks to Amanda for her time, music, and story. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino in the iTunes Store. Visit neonjazz at youtube.com. For everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.